Tell me about yourself. My name is Rebecca Simino. I am 33 years old. I live with my mother, my brother, and my dog, Jared. I am a customer service representative at Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and am also going to school through the College for America, working towards an associate's degree in general studies with a concentration in non-clinical healthcare. Tell me about your past work experience. Well, most of my work experience has been customer service related. I started off in retail, working at a grocery store, and was a bagger for a while, and then moved into cashiering. I then, that was from my sophomore year in high school until I graduated high school. And then I started a job at a child care center, which is still customer focused, only the customers are a little younger. And also, we had to please our parents as well. And then I went to working at Walmart, and started off cashiering, went into customer service and layaway department, and ultimately ended up at Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, starting in the enrollment and billing department, with was mostly data entry, but was still customer related, in that we were enrolling customers' employers' information into the system in order to add their benefits and their member profiles into their policies. I then moved into customer service on the phones, dealing with members one-on-one. Describe a time when you worked well on a team. Well, we don't have that many team projects in customer service, but the one thing I can think of recently is that we were all cross-trained to a new line of business, and in this new policy, we are using different systems, and so there was a big learning curve, and my manager was actually in the training with us. And so afterwards, she told me that she was very impressed by my probing questions. And I just, if I didn't understand something, I definitely tried to get more clarification from our trainer as to what I would need for my job, and also prompted other members in the team to ask questions as well, and also, and we all ultimately learned more because of it. Tell me about a time when you had too many things to do and had to prioritize your tasks. Mostly, I'm on the phones, and I'm able to do work after I get off the phone, but there are times where an IM or an email may come in while I'm on a call, and it can be very tempting to respond to a call or read an IM while I'm on a call, but I try to be member focused and just pay attention to resolving their issue, and then once I'm off the phone, responding to the email or IM. We also have time off the phone to work our follow-up cases, and that's usually about a half hour a day that I do that. But I am also currently attending school, so I am working on schoolwork in between calls and when I have free time during the day. But ultimately, work comes first, and I do try to resolve the member issues as best I can and focus on that first, and then try to move on to school work. And it can be hard to shift your brain back and forth, but I do try to focus on being in the moment at that time and getting the best results that I can for that particular situation. Tell me about a time when you had to go above and beyond the call of duty. Well, we are definitely advocates for our members, but there is one time in particular that I can think of that there was a member who he had a blood disorder and was trying to get a specific specialty medication and was having trouble getting it approved for him. And I spent a lot of time on this. Actually, it was probably over a month that I went back and forth with the pharmacy as well as my supervisors and other departments, and followed up with his broker and him. And the broker and the member were both very happy with my follow-up and the fact that we did get this resolved for him. And it definitely was above and beyond because, I definitely could have just given him a pat answer when he first called in and said, call the pharmacy or just not really resolve the issue. But I did want to get this resolved for him and not just put a Band-Aid on it. So this was a time I would say I went above and beyond. Tell me about a time when you worked effectively under pressure. Well, customer service can definitely have pressure at times when members are upset about a certain non-covered benefit or deductible. But there was one time in particular that I can think of that a member called in and was very upset that her quarterly statement that she received from Anthem did not have the total that she thought it should for the amount that she had paid for the year. She had been keeping track of her claims and had a different total amount than we had listed on her quarterly statement. And, she was very upset, which can cause pressure. And I did put the member on hold, which, knowing that she's upset, it, can also cause pressure to me to try and get this resolved quickly. But I did take the time to add up all of her claims and figure out that the ones that were missing off of the quarterly statements were ones that just had happened after the quarterly statement had been printed. I was able to explain this to the member. I did tell her that we couldn't send a corrected quarterly statement, but we could send out a letter stating what her total was at this time. The member said this was not needed, but she understood my answer and was very happy that I resolved the issue for her and even complimented me to my manager. Give me an example of a time where you showed initiative. There was a time where there was a member that called and her son had a behavioral health issue, and there was question as to whether this was going to be covered because we weren't sure if this provider was in the network, plus we didn't know if this was going to be related to a developmental disability, which would only be covered up until age 3 under the early intervention benefit. But I did ultimately research this with my supervisors as well as her provider, and just went back and forth with our supervisor and even questioned their answers sometimes just so that I could get deeper clarification for her. Just tried to work as her advocate and take her out of the middle and try to understand it myself so that I could explain it to her. And even though this issue was not ended up not being a covered benefit for her, I feel that I did try to take initiative to get her a good result is there anything else you would like us to know about you? Just that I try to be customer focused. I try to be helpful. I'm very analytical, very detail oriented, and try to resolve issues instead of just putting band-aids on them. And I think that I would be an asset to any team.